It is March 31st, 2026. We are back in the studio, and I'm at half mast just being in this room. Chuck, let's go.
Let's do it.
Without further ado! Here's your host, Chuck and Mash!
All right, so whatever we left off, it just feels like it was 2 or 3 months ago. I think the last episode we actually did, we were hyping up, getting ready for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Right?
Old news now.
It really is.
It's just been nonstop, just full fucking throttle.
Flood the zone, right? The zone has definitely been flooded here lately, but dude rocked out on the Super Bowl. Big fallout over that. Plus, I'll tell you, I was touched by it. I was really moved by that show. Actually looked at it. A lot of it I didn't understand, but there was just so much you could see culturally that went on there. Just loved it. I loved it.
I think I also love the fact that Kid's Rock Show was pre-recorded. He was lip syncing, and the crowd was staff.
They really proved that they were paid actors, and there was just a couple of hundred, if even that, and they did that whole camera trick of zooming
everybody
in
together,
on just a few level. It is what it is. I know that's old news, but that's where we left off. So of course I had to, throw that in there. So anyway, man, it's good to be back. I guess everyone else, it's just been a little lapse of time, but for us, it just seems like forever. Where to even start? Do you have something to even start with? Because I'm all
hell. You mentioned flood the zone. Let's talk about Steve Bannon. I was looking at him the other day, and I was sitting there thinking that, man, this guy looks like a sentient pile of STDs.
Okay, so we're going to go get into that. So I'll tell you what, my first thought is the human embodiment of a C. diff patient's colostomy bag, actually.
I thought he was a Comstock that had seen a shooting star and wished to be a real boy.
What?
I told you, mine get wild.
Okay. A clump of AIDS needles dredged off of White Rock Lake in Dallas, Texas. That's what I think of Steve Bannon, actually.
I think he looks like what's in Jabba the Hutt's tissue after he blows his nose.
Oh, gosh. Well, when I think of Steve Bannon, I think of a festering herpes sore on Miley Cyrus's left labia.
The left one, not the right?
They're probably pretty close, but...
So I think he was a high school gymnastics coach that's not allowed to be within 500 yards of a school.
No, that's truth. That's truth. I think we can actually... fact check that one and actually find this. He looks like a wrinkled nutsack of a dying Saki's monkey.
I thought he looked like a gelatinous mass left behind after filtering raw sewage through a colander.
When I think of Steve Bannon, I think of a life-size mold spore found in bat shit of the Paris catacombs.
Specifically Paris, huh?
Where else is the catacombs?
He looks like he lives under a bridge in Central Park and eats the heads off rats by choice.
I really, again, I think that could be fact-checked as true. I think that would be...
Maybe we'll find photos of that if we dig deep enough.
Just his picture captures the essence of Laura Loomer's discharge.
He looks like a bowl of mashed potatoes that's been left out so long it has become a houseplant.
Again, fact check. I think we're there. I think we'd probably find, example of that somewhere. His beard is harboring more bacteria than a stain on Lauren Boebert's cinema chair.
Wow.
Sorry, it took a second to get through that.
Fuck. He looks like a growth that's been removed from a lot lizard's back. Oh, you out now?
I'm pretty much out. I mean, I think that pretty much explains all of it. What's your favorite one of all of them?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, this was he looks like a pulsating mass of used condoms removed from the septic tank of a Hotel 6.
Again, fact check.
Looks like he found a way to sexually assault a blow-up doll.
Oh.
The audacity of that one, huh? It looks like he could be the antagonist in a R-rated Captain Planet movie. A man so vile and despicable, even a pentagram would burn his skin.
Oh, gosh.
Run the home stretch now.
That's pretty good.
He violently masturbates to UNICEF commercials.
Again, let's fact check that one.
I think he likes to pop off when a fly crawls across the kid's eye. He is a visual representation of the smell of the body odor of comic book store incels.
Oh.
He has a replica scale model of the train system in his basement of Auschwitz.
He probably, goes in there and masturbates to that twice a day. That's what I'm thinking.
Every year he holds a memorial service in remembrance of the sacrifice of Blondie.
Okay.
Those who know. He looks like the dried up, crusty stuff in the corner of Nancy Pelosi's mouth.
Oh. No one wants to be that.
That was my list.
That's pretty good.
I told you I had a few pages.
I know we have had a long time to fill up with those. But yeah.
I did that in one go.
Steve Bannon. And to go on about that, I mean, this guy is just completely out there. I talk about flood the zone, flood the zone, flood the zone. I know that haunts me with that. But this is what I think about every day whenever you open up Facebook, whenever you turn on the news. I don't watch mainstream news, but geez, I mean, look at it. There's something new every day.
Every single day. We've never had a day off.
Each side can just be so enthralled, so just blown up with something every day. So I just want everybody to know, and it's not fact. Of course, it's my opinion, but look at it and don't be dumb. If you are distracted because it is something every day, what is really going on behind the scenes?
The distraction is the point.
It is. And he said this. That's the thing. He said this. He's still in the power that he has. He's still a consultant behind the scenes. He's got his little old podcast and he throws it out. But this isn't a guy that sugarcoats anything.
No.
He's straight up like, yes, we're going to fucking put ICE at every polling station. We are going to put them there. We are going to do everything we can to jack with elections and just out with it. I mean, pretty much like Stephen Miller, just, whereas Trump is at least trying to kind of sugarcoat it in his own narcissistic way. Bannon's like, man, fuck it. He even said on this last go with the ICE agents at the airports.
Mm-hmm.
His comment was, this is a good practice run for us to run alongside election officials.
Now they're wanting to send them to Europe for the Olympics. Like, the fuck? Who are you going to deport in another country?
ICE is the Swiss Army knife of the Trump administration. I guess they want them to do everything and fucking poorly, apparently. I mean,
I'm absolutely baffled that even if you say you need security for your Olympians who are going to be over there, why immigration?
Well, just why ICE in general. And, the thing is, man, I know we started off and we ended up, getting into ICE and bashing Trump and, fuck ICE. I'll always believe that. But they've made some moves, I guess, to try to clean up their act a little bit. But this just goes alongside what I always say is this Nazi playbook.
Mm-hmm.
These guys, arguably, between you and I've argued they're the Gestapo. You've argued that they're the
SA.
The other entity that I've just learned about since speaking with you.
Well, the Gestapo did a lot more on the investigation into individual aspect of it. The SA was kind of like the strong arm that he had to begin with. It was early on. And that's what he's using them for, is just to be a strong arm and to intimidate and threaten people. And he's not even limiting it to our country.
Well, at this point, that's the blatant disregard for our Constitution there. And that's where exactly the point I'm trying to make, as he's basically said, hey, look, you remember when Stephen Miller got up? He said, hey, you have
plenary authority?
Well, he was talking about Trump there, but I'm talking about, he said, you can do whatever you want, basically, and we're going to pardon you on anything. So don't even worry about it. And that's not how we work here. That's not how we work in the United States. I understand that we're not in the same age of any other age of the United States, and we're setting a new precedent for how we act. But there's nowhere in the Constitution that we have any government entity that just has this plenary authority, like you said, or just basic, just do whatever the hell you want to, we're supposed and we'll sort it out later.
We're supposed to have checks and balances on this.
Right.
And this administration is blatantly ignoring it. And they're ignoring the check from the legal end of it. They're ignoring the judge rulings. And then we have the representative branch, which won't do anything because they fucking side with you.
But I kind of see where I think Trump has tried to give a little bit. I think at this point of this year, with it being the midterms, if you notice, he's really backtracking and scrambling on a whole lot of things. And the whole Pam Bondi thing, the whole, who's it, Greg Bovino, isn't that his name? He reassigned him, or he pulled him out of
the Nazi Keebler elf.
But he pulled him out of Minneapolis, or whatever. I think he's finally kind of figured out, hey, look, regular people, even my Republican people, are like, maybe ICE is overstepping just a little bit. Maybe I need to clean this, or at least throw somebody under the bus.
He's throwing people under the bus right now because he's realizing that the people who are protecting him and backing him are losing their positions because they're not getting reelected.
Right.
That's the only thing that's causing change. Morally, he's still as fucking bankrupt as he was before. It's that he knows he needs to hang on to whatever little power that these other guys have, and he cannot risk them losing more seats and more positions.
Right. Well, you just see him, and what's crazy is for the last 2 years, people have talked about watch how he squirms during the midterm. Watch this super turnover that's about to happen before the midterms. Now, we haven't seen a lot of that. I have seen Pam Bondi get kind of kicked to the curb. We've seen Bovino. We've seen kind of the change. You haven't heard a whole lot about ICE here lately, as far as the mainstream is concerned.
Yeah.
They're still there. They're still doing their thing, but they haven't been part of the mainstream, and I think that's part of kind of letting that cool off a little bit. The big thing right now is the SAVE Act. That's something that, Trump has really pushed, and every time he gets up, we're in the middle of a war, which we need to get into. We're in the middle of
we need to discuss it. We don't need to get into it. We just need.
We're already into it. We need to discuss it. But the thing is while we have American lives being taken right now, he will stop that conversation in the middle and start talking about the SAVE Act.
Yeah.
And that's something that I want to discuss, is the SAVE Act. And where we're at with that, where Congress is at with that, and what do you think is really going to happen and be the result of that before the midterms?
I don't know what the result is going to be, because I've seen so much back and forth and repositioning. Now, as far as like the basis for the SAVE Act, everybody wants to sit there and say, just to protect the elections and all that shit. It's already illegal. It's already illegal to vote when you're not allowed to. We already have laws in place.
Right.
So why are you trying to bring this in? They're trying to bring that in under the excuse, under the disguise of securing our elections. But really the goal is to strip away other people's rights to vote.
Right.
One example I can give is Alabama in 2020, when they wanted to change where you can get IDs. Now, when publicly they said, we want you to have an ID to vote. And everybody can agree. That's a simple, basic thing. Just go get you an ID. Just go get an ID.
I think we all agree.
Okay, just go get
ID.
Go get you an ID. It's a simple thing. But then they tried to shut down every single place that you can get an ID at, except for 3 locations in the entire fucking state.
Right.
Now, if you're in Alabama, you know that you can just go to the county courthouse. You can get you an ID there. I had to get a driver's license at the state trooper's office, but just for the photo ID, county courthouse.
Right.
Just go down to the county courthouse. It's that simple. But to make it to where you had to travel to one of 3 locations in the entire state is fucking ridiculous.
Right.
The amount of the lines would be down the road, not just like out the door, down the road. Millions of people in 3 locations. Are you kidding me?
Right.
And you have to do it every 4 years, because their license is only good for for 4 years. I think here in Texas is 8.
I know mine's been good for a little while. I don't know the exact number.
Now, what's cool, I still have my Arizona ID, and those are good for life, because it's not a driver's license. It's just a picture ID. They're good for life. The downside is I've had 2 cashiers at Walmart declare me dead. They claimed it expired. And no, ma'am, that's my birthday. It literally says DOB and the date.
Or the fact that, is it what you look like 18 years ago? I mean, but
that don't matter.
Are they really getting that serious, about it?
Doesn't matter.
Well, kind of the point that I want to make is there's so many whatabouts and there's so many what ifs and and this is because of that and this is because of that. So the liberals came out, probably about 6 months ago with this big, it wasn't that big, but this big headline. Hey, they're cutting down the places that you can get a passport.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, to counter that, it was like, hey, well, this was part of, and what it was a lot of libraries.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, the Trump administration had taken it to where if a library is like a tax-free entity or something like that, they changed the laws. Where, okay, well, then you don't need to be the place that sells the passport. It had something to do with their status.
They're
as
publicly
a business.
funded.
Okay.
The public libraries are publicly funded.
Right, and maybe that was the reason. I don't know. It had something with tax exemption or something of that. There was a blanket clause that everyone under this status wasn't going to sell passports. Now, it was like, okay, well, that's a here or there thing that doesn't affect me. And then whenever the liberals just exploded and they're like, oh, they're taking away places that we can get passports. It's like you kind of write it off because you're like, oh, well, the Trump administration, whatever, they do this. Now, I wrote it off. I was like, okay, no big deal. Just go get a passport wherever you get passports. Well, then now look at how we're federalizing the mail system. Okay. So now we're taking over the mail system, and then the Supreme Court is looking at this. If a mail-in ballot shows up after Election Day, if that is going to be authenticated or not.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about the dates of the postage date. Well, what it was is before, when they received it, they would post date it.
Right.
Now, they don't have to do that.
As long as it was postmarked on that day.
But they're now making it where they can postmark it when they ship it out, after it's been sent to a hub to be sorted and all that. But that's not the way we've been doing things in the entire history of this nation.
But here's the thing. Why are we changing it now? Is it that serious? Or is
it is.
Exactly. Because every one of these things is systemically going against voting.
Yeah.
There's no secret that the Republican side has always wanted to suppress the vote. Now, I've always been taught, looked at figures. I haven't here lately. I would imagine it's pretty close at this point. But what I've always heard and always looked up is that whenever Democrats get out and actually vote, they win. They're not even hiding it anymore as far as wanting to suppress this vote, is what I'm trying to get at.
You're referring to the one that got caught on a hot mic, talking about how it'd get them 12%?
Right. No, I mean that. But I'm talking about their actions. I'm talking about, I wrote it off that you couldn't get passports in certain places. Why wouldn't we want Americans to get passports? Okay. I wrote it off that we're getting into the postal service and that you've got a lot of people that are like, man, I just want to know what it is on election day. Is it that serious? I mean, is it that serious? Because when I look at what the Democrats want, it's, hey, we just want everybody to have that voice. Okay, we really do. We want it easy. We want it easy for you to vote. Now, you take that and you construe that as me wanting to cheat, whenever I can name 100 other times where the Republicans tried to cheat and were caught.
Yeah, some of them are in prison right now, and they still try to blame shit on the Democrats.
So it shows that the system is actually working.
Yeah, we have a system in place already.
Right. But then here's what I get. And it's mainly Facebook or something, and I'm like, look, I like to throw the numbers. You know, we love the numbers around here. And you look up the numbers of people who have actually been caught trying to fraudulently vote in a federal election as an undocumented immigrant, and it's literally on my hand how many times since like the 80s. And they're like, yeah, well, so-and-so in Illinois registered their dog and got a ballot back.
Okay, cool. You registered your dog, you got a ballot. Did it go through? No, it was stopped. You can get ballots quite easily. It's whether or not it goes through. Right. And people talk about, the dead are voting. No, when you die, you are automatically taken off the voter roll within 3 days.
But
automatic.
But this is their talking point, though.
Fuck their talking point.
No, because
they're pulling this shit out of their ass. And they're too stupid to realize.
They're pulling these voter rolls, and this is what makes that talking point. Because they're saying, oh, well, we found so many people in the voter roll of whatever state, and they're still eligible or whatever because they haven't been purged at that point. So,
well, some of them, the ones that I've seen personally, they were still alive. It's just somebody else with the same name. They went by first name, last name, and the younger one with that same name was still alive. Hell, one of them was talking about, I remember years ago, they had brought up Barack Hussein Obama's Social Security number, and they talked about, there's other people with it. Yeah, there's a finite amount of combinations. Even if you go from all zeros to all nines, there's still a finite. The sets of numbers actually mean shit, like location and stuff like that. So there's actually a finite amount of numbers. That's why there was 3 total people that had that same Social Security number. That's also why your Social Security number can't be used for identification purposes.
I was going to say, I don't remember showing.
I remember that being a law. Yeah. I remember that actually being a law. But no, people forget, there's over 300 million motherfuckers in this country. There's going to be people with the same first and last name. There's going to be people with the same social number. That's just the way it is.
Right.
But again, though, we have systems in place that check to make sure that the name, the social, the address, all that shit matches. If something's off, it's automatically rejected. And you would be surprised how many votes get thrown out because of that, or because their status, their ability to vote had been stripped away from them or had not been reinstated yet, to preventing people from voting twice. We have a system in place, but we have maybe tens of millions of people are just too fucking stupid to acknowledge it, realize it, or even believe that it exists.
Or the fact that this is just a by the way thing. I should be able to go and vote and this not be an overthought process. It's a vote. It's one vote. I cherish my vote. I do. I protect that vote. I'll do whatever I got to do. Do I got to go buy a passport? I guess I will. But
and then there's the
fortunately, I'm an old white guy, and it's not geared towards me. It's going to be real easy for me to go down there and vote. But the thing is, it may not necessarily be for my wife. It may not necessarily be for any other woman who has had their name changed within the last year or two.
And that's actually a very good point, because they had the argument, if your name does not match what's on your birth certificate, which is something very simple, because I look at it like my name matches what's on my birth certificate, and I'm good. Same for you. People don't realize almost every single married woman out there that has done the traditional thing of taking the husband's name, fucked.
Right.
So why is she not allowed to vote?
But they are. They just have to jump through hoops to do it.
Flaming hoops. The hoops are moving.
They do.
And never changing.
My thing is I just want it to be easy. I want to rock the vote. We hadn't heard that one in a while, right? Vote. Get out. Why do we need to limit it just to these select few people? And, Trump basically said, if you get the SAVE Act passed, I promise you we will win in the midterms. Now, that can mean so many things to me. Because I'm like, what has this dude got up his sleeves? He knows he's going to lose his ass in these midterms. This is statistically there. This isn't a, hey, we thought Kamala was going to win statistic. This is statistically, nearly every president loses their ass in the midterms. That's just how this goes.
Yeah, it almost always flips. No matter if it's a good or bad administration, right. For some reason it always flips. But he's even, backhandedly made little comments here and there about calling off the vote, not having a midterm.
Right.
And he's testing the waters to see people's reactions to it.
Right. And you actually see some MAGA jump out there and go, yeah, you know what, until we get this, until we get that. And it's like, well, wait a minute, man. I mean, like, are you for the Constitution or are you in the cult? Are you in the cult? And we know the answer to that.
Imagine if Hussein Obama tried that shit. Their fucking brains would explode.
Shit would burn down. Shit would burn down. It would be the one time that the Libbies didn't burn everything
They called
down.
for his impeachment over a tan suit, and now we have a motherfucker literally talking about third terms, calling off elections, just staying in office.
Right. Well, I guess where I wanted to go with that is one thing that I wanted to, share with. I may have spoke with you. I know it's been a while, but with everyone, you're looking at Facebook, you're looking at TikTok. And if you notice these Republican Congress people that get up, notice how they don't use the term anything other than voter ID.
Yeah.
I just need everybody to remember and do your own homework. Go look up the SAVE Act specifically. These are things that are privy to every American.
And not posts of people talking about SAVE Act, not politicians, and they're not even news reporters. They are commentators who are talking about the SAVE Act. Read the actual damn document.
Right.
It's publicly available. You can look at it, read it yourself. Quit listening to the opinions of other people, except for mine. But quit listening to other people's opinions, because mine's going to be telling you to look the shit up.
Well, but to me, it's the if you notice, we're big on the headlines. We're big on the keywords. We're big on that. And if you notice, they don't want to get into the rest of it. They want to get into say, man, and you're going to see, I'm sure half of it's bots. You know me and my Facebook comments. But they're like, man, well, I got to show ID to go buy beer. I got to show ID to go buy this.
They claimed that you had to show ID to buy bread.
Well, Trump did. because he's never had to buy bread in his life by himself.
Yeah, no shit.
But the thing is that's how they want to oversimplify it, and just to try to make this of then why would you be against this? Because you have to show your ID to do this. Well, of course, and I'll guarantee you, 99% of us are just okay with showing our ID to vote. In fact, here in Texas, that's been the thing forever.
Well, if you have to have ID for that, right? And it's so easy, then make it easy to get an ID.
Thank you.
Why should it not be easy to get yourself put into the system? Why are we... okay, let's talk about the selective service, right? When you're 1825, you got to go to the selective service. Do you need to show ID for that?
They sure
nope. Do you need a social security card? Nope.
Well, it's actually...
They know who you are. Right? They know who you are. And all you have to do is contact them, fill out a simple form.
But it's something that...
And they take you at your word.
But if it's something that benefits them in this way, and something that may benefit them the other way for you having to jump through...
Well, let me say to you like this, dude. You talk about, when you get your ID. I didn't have an ID at 18. I had my selective service card before I got my ID.
Oh, okay. I didn't think about that.
By God,
I just remember getting that 18.
3 days after my 18th birthday, they were hitting me up.
There was your selective service
Yes,
card.
they mailed that shit to me. Threatening me with prison.
They wanted to make sure
you have to sign up within 3 days of your 18th birthday.
But that just goes to show they already know who you are.
Right. So why do
your status?
So if you know who I am, you know my status. Then I just
like they know your immigration status.
Why is it that you've got so much on me for the selective service? That's not. But you don't know who I am when I want to vote.
Well,
when does my ID expire? I'm not changing. I'm still the same person.
Well, that I believe that's a money issue. I believe it's an identification issue. Not to say...
I know, I'm talking shit at this point.
Yeah.
Because I've seen those TikToks, dude. I'm like, you know what? You show right. You'll show right. Why is that my driver's license expires after 4 years? I can still drive. When I renew it, I don't take the driver's test again.
Yeah.
It's literally just taking a new photo of me.
It's a money thing. Kind of like your registration for your car.
And on that point... I implore everybody to join the religion of Pastafarianism. We are taking all backgrounds. Look into the flying spaghetti monster and driver's licenses.
We're going to get into religion, but no.
Oh no! I'm just talking about my driver's license photo.
But the point specifically about the SAVE Act, where I was going to go with that, is the fact of watch how they're suppressing all of the rest of the details of the SAVE Act. They want to tell you that this is just an ID to vote, just an ID to vote, just an ID to vote. And then they say, well, wait a minute. You only have to show all of that laundry list of documentation when you register. Then you just need an ID when you go to vote. But to register, you need all of this. But what they're leaving out there, recently I changed my address on my voter registration. Kind of freaked me out because I was like, man, am I within these parameters? Am I within these parameters? Are they going to try to throw out my, other votes or, all of these things that I had to start thinking about because they are just hammering everyone on these things. I literally live like 2 blocks from where I was to change my address. Now, one of the things in there is when your address is changed, most likely you're going to have to go back and show all of that proof of citizenship. You're going to have to do this whole thing all over again. And the things that are thrown in the SAVE Act that people don't talk about that concern me have nothing to do with identification.
And here's some of the finer nitty-gritty details I want to get into, specifically Texas. I had moved, and of course you got so much time to change all your shit over.
Right.
And I was reaching the end of that term. So I looked online, what all will I need? And it's just very simple on the Texas State website. And I go down there because I couldn't make an appointment. I put in, because they ask you your address, where you're at, what county, and it just would not make an appointment.
Oh, our GPS is ridiculous.
No, it's stupid. It's even dumber. You can't put down where you are. You have to put in where they are, where the office is. I don't live in this county, but by God, I had to put this county down where their office is to make the appointment.
Even though there wasn't a DPS office in your county.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I had to put down y'all's DPS office location.
Right.
as my location to make the appointment. And that's the only way it went through. I found that out because the lady worked. That poor woman that has to deal with the public and maintain her composure while dealing with all of us. Then I find out because they say they accept digital proofs of things like a credit card bill, things that have your address, things that financially tie you to that location.
Right.
Only, and it does not say it on the website, only it's in PDF format and emailable to her email account. Why did they leave that off their website? This is the state website that neglected to tell me that. So now I'm scrambling because I got my freaking lease agreement. The property manager gave me a ride down there. He's the son-in-law of the property owner. None of that was eligible. Well, my lease agreement was not acceptable.
It just goes to show that they want to have some sort of legal precedent to be able to scrutinize this to the point where it could be thrown out or have that talking point. And, where I was going a while ago is the SAVE Act is so much more than just an identification. It's so much more than you proving citizenship. What this is doing is actually giving the federal government access to our voter rolls to be able to audit that at their discretion, which isn't too crazy, but it also shows where that can be purged at any time. Now, they did finally argue that you would need to be told that you were purged from it, for whatever reason. And it gives the federal government that information to, I guess, pursue illegal aliens and, immigrants right there.
That ability's been there because the states have had control over that.
It just seems
they just want to be able to get your information no matter where you're at.
Right.
So you find out who voted for who and track your ass down.
Right. And, and to get crazy conspiracy with it, I mean, I'm technically a domestic terrorist because I'm wearing this shirt. It's black, by the way.
Oh, yeah. If you wear black, you're a terrorist now. That's the thing. And that goes throwback to a previous conversation that we had, is whenever they're sitting there saying, Obama's coming for you guys, they're coming for you guys. No, they don't just come and take your weaponry. They change what a criminal is.
Right.
Criminals can't have weapons. We can all agree with that. So they just declare everybody a criminal, like this administration has declared pretty much everybody a fucking terrorist. And that's how they get your shit. That's how they did it in the 30s. That's how they're going to do it now.
But now I'm a domestic terrorist because A, I'm wearing black. B, I openly speak out against ICE. And now they're going to have access to my voting history, all of the voter rolls. What's to keep them from coming and, even if it's just the smallest thing, even if it's just the smallest thing to deter me from voting the way I want to, or anything like that, when you look in the Constitution, this is supposed to be up to the states to run their elections how they want to. And
states' rights?
Yes. And right. It's states' rights. And I just, anytime I speak out against the SAVE Act, of course, everyone is just, oh, well, you want to cheat and you want them to cheat. Well, show me who's cheating, and then let's talk about it, because it's not an issue. The bottom line is the collateral damage that will happen from this is keeping actual citizens from voting rather than the safeguard of voting is what I'm trying to get at. And this is something that they don't want to talk about. They want to talk about how could you be against this? But yes, the collateral damage of people that just may not even want to give that much of a hoot about their vote. If you make someone really try and have to jump through these hoops to do it, they may say, you know what, it's just my one vote. I don't give a shit anyway. What does it matter here in Texas anyway? We're going to go red anyway. We're going to vote red anyway, right? And so they may just not do it because of the bullshit that you're putting through. That's all I really wanted to say about the SAVE Act.